Hello, everyone, viewers who may come across this video. Um, I'm back after a long, long waiting period, after many distractions that I allow, and um, just points of nervousness and fear, to be blunt. Um, I'm back. Um, I wanted to make this particular video to kind of make a deep bit of a detour on what I normally talk about. Normally, I go into apologetics. I'll take a video, uh, give some counterpoints to certain critiques and criticisms that are made against the faith, against the way, against Christianity. But this time, uh, I'm going to speak about something that's really been on my heart for some years. And I remained silent on it for various reasons, but um, I just I just can't anymore. Uh, or I could, but it's it's not beneficial to me in the long run. So, uh, topic I'm going to be speaking on today, or I'll just give my opinion on, is um, romantic relationships uh, within the realm of, you know, 2025. The what's popularly known as the dating market. Um, I think that phrase was coined maybe by Kevin Samuels or probably Rollo Tomasi. A lot of Manosphere kind of group got leaders and stuff. And that also includes uh, the feminist side of things, rather their contributions to this whole dating market. Um, so I was watching a video, um, or rather, how relationships and things, um, a different perspective on how on relationships and as it involves the church, uh, within the year of 2025. Um, so I've watched thousands of videos by now on such a subject. Um, of course, I have an opinion, like thousands, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of others. Um, but I wanted to speak more on being single, um, within these years. So something that's just kind of gotten, just I guess gotten under my skin about uh the approach that okay, where do I begin? Um, well, as a Christian single, uh, I've decided to just be single. Technically, I am separated, but which I have not fulfilled the whole divorce legal divorce thing. But I do not intend on establishing a romantic relationship. And a lot of people, it doesn't sit well with them. As a single guy, um, I am often asked, why not? Why do I not have a wife? Why do not I not have kids? Why do I not want to pursue that anymore? Um, well, in short, experiences, several experiences, uh, before marriage as well as within a marriage, and even coming out of marriage. And a lot of it has to do with society, as well. Um, and a lot of it comes from not just uh, the talking points from coming from, I guess, more uh, left-leaning politics, I guess, but also the right and the things that I see that both of them kind of push. And I can't, or rather, it doesn't sit well with me. And the reason why it doesn't sit well with me is because you have a lot of, let's say, uh, let's take I guess, the more feminist talking points, or rather, let me put it this way. There are a lot of women that want to get married, and there's nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with wanting to get married, or rather, there's nothing wrong with wants to get married, but it's the reasons why they want to get married that are the main issue, more so for status and uh appeal to other people. There's very little attention paid to what a marriage actually is, um, what a godly marriage looks like, and what a woman's role is in that. Um, from more female talking points, expectations are placed upon the man, and there are no expectations placed upon the woman, except except to rebel against a man or tame the man. Now, on the right, more so conservative side, they too want marriage. And although I consider myself a conservative, I take issue with the whys that they present, as well as their attempts to persuade. Um, in short, I take issue with the fact that they too, you know, have expectation are swift to provide expectations for the man. And nowadays, it is there are expectations placed upon women, but it wasn't that way at first. And oftentimes, when it's presented now, it's for fandom, it's for likes, views, shocks, and awe to get whatever whatever media whatever media group that you're on, to get people to look at that and for you to generate revenue from it. It doesn't really seem to, um, okay, frequently, it doesn't seem to be for the man. We have two different societies or two different views of the same society of how it should be ran. And At the end of the day, both of them demand that single men be tools, that men willingly sacrifice themselves in order to be a benefit. Left side, I'm holding up my left hand. The video may come out differently, but on the left side, it's for the women to, you know, be financially taken care of, and on the right side is for society to be propelled in a better direction. But neither of these sides acknowledge. Oh, they may, oh, okay, the right may acknowledge, like verbally, like, for example, they may state that there are issues plaguing men today, but it does not come off as a genuine concern, just a throwaway acknowledgement. Um, I've tried to make a video about this more than a year ago, several months added to that year. Uh, so it's probably 2 years now. Um, for example, like conservative corners such as Daily Wire. There was a backstage video or where uh the main, forerunners of the Daily Wire were there, and they spoke about the topic of marriage. At this time, there was Jeremy, I want to say Boeing, that was there. Uh, Ben Shapiro, Candace Owens, back when she still was with them. Um, Michael Knowles, and one other gentleman, I can't remember his name. Um, but these group of sophisticated people were talking about um, the growing epi I don't know. Uh, I can't even say the word correctly. The growing issue, there you go. The growing issue of relationships and marriage, and the rapid decrease in marriage. And they could not wrap their head around it in a sense. Or rather, they knew that men's corners in the Manosphere, in um, MGTOW, which is an acronym for men going their own way, they did not understand why this was a growing thing. Um, and they spoke about it, and they did acknowledge that there were issues. To their credit, they said that, well, men have a point in bringing these issues up, but they should not step away from the Institute of Marriage, because the Institute of Marriage, in short, I'm gonna summarize pretty much what their talking point is in short, um, it is needed for society to grow and improve. It serves as a baseline for uh, learning and morality and um, general security um, for for the society. However, some of their comments in that particular video just kind of just it didn't make me like real in utter disgust, but I was like, something must sound right. I heard that and I'm like, it's something about their posture, something about their tones. And of course, being on the internet, you have to if you want to be internet famous, you gotta you know, throw some low blows, some sucker punches and some insults and things. And so some of them decided to do so, or at least rather one in particular, a couple of them I should say, didn't mind, degrading the general idea of men, and oversimplifying, um, or rather going to the easier talking points, that a lot of men have presented within the manosphere. Now, yes, a lot of those talking points that you'll find in the manosphere, if you choose to go down that rabbit hole, they're going to be secular talking points. Some of them are going to be biblical, some of them not so. Far from it sometimes, depending on who you listen to. If you're going to listen to the main people that make it pretty much, or YouTube famous, let's say, or TikTok famous, you're going to find a lot of secular views that do not mesh well at all with um with Christian culture and the way that Jesus would have you live. You're not going to find a lot of that. I mean, they'll point to it, you know, and say, "Oh, this is the way we expect a woman should be in a marriage," blah 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 blah, and they'll reference it. They'll reference it when it's beneficial, but like most people oftentimes do when they are not truly tied to churches, they'll pick and choose. Well, there are people who are in church, who still pick and choose that out of the Bible and stuff like that. But of course, you'll find that in secular culture, they'll pick and choose, um, what they want out of the Bible, but then kind of leave the rest back. Um, Let me focus back to the point. Um, because most of this video is going to be talking about um, conservative culture, really, the conservative side of things, because that's where I am on the conservative side of things. Um, most of those I've seen um, on the conservative side, which is really why I'm kind of making this video, is that there's a huge expectation placed on men. And that would be okay if they proved that they cared. No, they don't. You can tell it in their posture. You can tell it in uh you could tell by pretty much the fruits. Um what they expose of themselves over and over again. Now nobody's perfect. We all make mistakes. We all have issues. We all have our own sins to correct, our own demons to reject and to fight back, push away, whatever. But it becomes, but for sophisticated people who, claim to be highly intelligent and, are pretty much in a position of success, it somehow is easy for uh, a C average student like myself who went back when I was in grade school, C average student. So, um, admittedly, a lot of it had to do with my own laziness. I just did not care to study too much, too into video games. Um, but I see these people, and the main thing I think is, y'all got all these suggestions from me, but you don't care. You don't care at all. The left will tell me, you know, do this for this reason, and all the little talking points are clear that they don't care. And your suggestions are aligned with their suggestions in a sense. And we're just told to do this because it's the right thing to do. But in all the reasons that they give, you can see it on their face. You can hear it in their voice. They don't care. You can hear it in the number of videos that they make concerning, like, in that will constantly correct a man, that will constantly have expectations on the man, offload, you know, um, offload blame onto men only, men only blame. They are no different than the other side, no different at all. I'm sorry. That's that was more of my emotions. They are different in personal lives, but when it comes to the expectation of men, men are expendable. That's that's what they both share. And that's why men have been pulling back from society. You know, I've watched a lot of videos and I've agreed with a lot of guys, and there'll be times where I come up with talking points, but I'm like, I'm too lazy to put it out, and somebody else puts it out, and I'm like, yeah, I agree with you, man, because thank you for affirming me, you know. But and I guess a lot of it comes from this one video I watched recently where this guy, he was a veteran, and um he's talking to I can't remember what this young lady's name is, but he's talking to this one lady at Turning Point USA. And he mentions that he was there, he was, serving the church, and then the church kind of pushed him back, and or not push him back, but was not there for him to support him when he was going through hard times. Um, after, you know, he returned home from his service in the military. And even though I'm not like a military person, I can kind of relate, you know what I mean? Um, in that um as a Christian, I have been in part I've been in church all my life, different churches, but I've still been a part of a church family at different, church families. And um in many of them, thank God I'm a part of one that um I feel accepted, you know, despite, the things I'm going through and stuff like that. I'm being, guided and, corrected where I need to be corrected at. I'm being, guided. Uh, I'm being prayed for, you know, and also served. So I found a community, and I hope the guy who I'll be praying for, finds a church community as well. But I guess it goes to kind of into another talking point where um, I see a lot of, um, you know, I see that a lot of men are walking away or pulling themselves out of church. And that would have to be the main reason. Rather, the main reason would be, I would see, is that they could tell that more and more responsibility is placed on their shoulders. More expectation is placed on their shoulders alone. And the other side, the ladies. Now, I don't make this video to just be like to bash, but we are two opposite ends of the same race. There's responsibility for one side, and there's responsibility for the other. And true, you can't always talk to both the same manner. But where the men are often addressed, the women not so much. Sometimes the men get a little support, get a little, gratitude. We'll have a day of gratitude generally. But the women, they don't see much correction. They're very, the church is very light with correction for the ladies, whereas the men is, you know, we need to do this, we need to do that, we need to do the third. If society falls in this, or society is falling, or is falling, or falling, or whatever the case may be, it's on the man. And although life isn't fair, we ought to try for it. We ought to be honest with expectations. The Bible is a double-edged sword. And although it is applied, although that statement, is meant to suggest that, you know, that truth hurts those that we speak to, as well as those who, read the Bible. That the truth, I also believe that the truth is for everybody, not just one gender. It's for both. And men don't get to see a lot of that. And if you're made to take on all that burden, if you're made to be looked at as the bad guy, no matter what, despite especially despite some of the or what many of the stories in the Bible suggest, then as a man you begin to see that you're not valued in that particular society. And many of the left many of the issues that the Manosphere bring up is that the left is willing to sacrifice the man's well-being for comfort, for uh yeah, pretty much for comfort of various types and for entertainment, for giggles, where the right is willing to sacrifice a man's well-being for security and structure. But when both kind of but there are times where both will kind of be like, um they offer, um let's say, empty appreciation, false appreciation, throwaway comments of like, men, we need you, you are important. It feels more like, regardless of which side you hear it from, it feels it feels like, how should I put this? Well, I can't think of a suitable analogy, but it just doesn't feel right. It feels like a lie. Like mm, okay, you've been a good little boy, so here's some rotten meat for you. Here you go. A little bit of praise that we don't really care about. Now, when it comes from the people who make it abundantly clear that they don't really value men, it can be expected. But it's a bit of a shock when, although given different reasons, that more right-leaning people make the same suggestion that, you know, that the man offer up himself on the guillotine, that sadly marriage has now become. Now, there are talks of, well, marriage is good and, you know, it's divorce that's bad. But although marriage is good, I do agree with that. It is a creation from God. And it it teaches us um how how to live in a more Christ-like manner. That's if we do it right. That's if both sides are committed to giving their all to do it right. But society has focused on only getting one of those threads of the three-braided cord of the husband, the wife, and God the Father. They only focus on getting that that husband cord right. And if the female cord breaks for any reason, they choose to leave or whatever the case may be, it's the man's fault. If that braided cord never even exists, or rather in the sense that a man doesn't sign up, that man is to blame. And unfortunately, getting that from, and it's not all churches that are like this, you know, and but it's quite a few. It's quite a few of the main people who um want marriage to succeed. And I want marriage to succeed. It may not sound like it, but I do. I wanted my marriage to succeed, you know, but a lot of men want their marriage to succeed. We just have to, but many men are shown that it takes three, you know, which of course God is the center braid that keeps us all together. But I mean, among us, among people, it takes two. And the man can't be wrong all the time in everything and still expect it to be right, if that makes sense. Or rather, he can't expect to be wrong all the time and get it right. Let me put it that way. And pretty much that's been my disappointment um, through what I've seen from society. And yeah, I think I've exhausted all talking points for now. I mean, I could take a deep dive on any point, but for time's sake, I got main gist out of the way. Um, but well, I will add this. Even though a lot of men are walking away, from relationships, from marriage, from church, even, and sadly, I mean, I don't encourage men to walk away from church altogether. I do encourage, like, if there's something that's that's not going right in the church you're going to, maybe consider a church online. You know, it biblically it's suggested that that you be a part of, the church family. Have some iron sharpens iron. You want somebody, you want to be involved in a community where you can grow, and you don't want to be, lock yourself by lock, you know, remove yourself from society and only have yourself in your only have yourself to glean, growth from. It's going to be hard for you to grow on your own. Uh, I mean, not to say you can't, but you're going to be highly limited because you're not going to have anybody there, um, physically to be like, hey, you might want to change up this and that, or you might want to try this and that. But anyway, um, enough of that tangent. But and just another note, there's no, it'll be easy for somebody to take this video and say, hey, well, you just hate women. No, that's not the case. I love women, you know what I mean? But you know, you just have to, but you just gotta face facts sometimes, and things aren't going to work. Sometimes things aren't going to work, and you have to be honest with it. You have to kind of swallow a truth. And I think that's where a lot of men are, is that they love women. They just know that they are not loved by women. Some project, the have that alpha projection, that puffed up chest and super heightened ego. And of course, that's not everybody, right? And I think a lot of men are some men have that and they have a chip on their shoulder. But there are a lot of men that are just like, it's not like we don't, because we do. We do want marriage. We do want relationships. We do want something special. We do want family and kids and um, the whole nine of the house and the picket fence and the 2.5 children. Why 2.5? It's been said for decades. Two and one on the way. But it is a bit of a sad, kind of realization, but it's a broken world. And that's where we are. And it's not that we don't want marriage to work, but we have to be honest and be realistic with ourselves based on, what society says. And like we're given what society says, we're given what the left says, the right says, those in the middle, what they have to say, those outside of the situation, what they have to say. And there are going to be plenty of suggestions that are thrown at men and that are thrown at men. And not many of those who should make those suggestions are going to help you pick up the pieces when the house comes tumbling down. There will be some, thankfully I had a great deal of help, you know, when I went through my separation. Uh, but a lot don't. A lot of men don't. And seeing multiple men get crushed for various reasons, through various situations, I cannot honestly just recommend that people, jump into this, jump into a union just because people say that that's what you're supposed to do. You need to bring God into that decision, and he needs to be the one to make the decision for you, I would say. A lot of people suggest seeking it out. Don't. Don't seek it out. Seek God, and if he suggests that you do, then you do. A lot of people will suggest you prepare, you know, and then, find that one or do all the work and find that one. No, just align yourself with the Lord, be about your purpose, and let him lead you to that one, to the person he has for you, or lead the person he has for you to you. Don't go seeking it out on your own. You don't have the eyes to see uh the heart of that person like Jesus did, like Jesus does, rather. Forgive me. Jesus can see. God the Father can see. The Holy Spirit can see. You don't. So, hmm. So that'll end my rant for tonight. Um, for the guys out there who are going through something tough, you know, if you can, I'm open to being reached out to. If you need to vent about your situation, if there's some way I can help, I can't help much, but I'll try. If only, if it's just to, be a listening ear, you know, I can be here for you. If you want to leave a comment, I'll respond to you. I pray I can do do it in a very timely manner. I'll do my best to do it in a timely manner. But yeah, um, just know that you're not alone. God's for you. Jesus is for you. The Holy Spirit is for you. And, you know, stay prayerful. Um, leave a comment, and if you would like for me to like pray for you, I'll definitely do that. Um, and yeah. All right. Well, I'll sign off and I'll think about a title to this video soon. Good night, everyone.